On Wednesday, at least 27 people died trying to cross the channel in a bid to reach our shores. That number has since risen to 43 for the week. The papers, as per usual, are shouting migrants this, migrants that, soaking up all the usual racist mantras that these people are coming here looking for something for nothing. Remember this image? This was Alan Kurdi. He was 3 years old. Now, I don't know about you, but that image haunts me to this day. He died in the Mediterranean. His life was snuffed out by indifference, but 5 of those 27 who died on Wednesday in the Channel were children too. Yesterday, it was reported that fishermen in Hastings actually attempted to stop the RNLI deploying to save people in the Channel to stop them getting here. People have said they're going to stop funding them as a result of them putting lives first. Just how twisted has this country become over this issue? Or are we all just really badly misinformed? Okay, right out of the gate, let's deal with this issue of calling everyone prepared to jump in a dinghy to come here migrants. They aren't a flock of birds heading for a new breeding ground. They aren't coming here for the money, because wages here are, for the vast majority of us, utterly shit. They're human beings, they're refugees, and they are fleeing here, seeking a better life from whence they came. Why here? Well, why not? Under international law, asylum seekers can claim asylum wherever they wish. If they've chosen to come here, they've chosen to come here for whatever reason. The vast majority of countries around the world take in refugees. Many take a lot more than we do. So why shouldn't we take in our share as well? They can choose to go where they want. It is for them to then apply for asylum there and see if they get it granted. Here's some figures for you. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, by the end of 2018, the UK had 126,720 refugees, 45,244 pending cases, and 125 stateless individuals, making up 0.26% of our entire population. Here's a chart showing where we stack up versus other countries, and as you can see, we're hardly going above and beyond on this issue. According to the Refugee Council, between January 2020 and May of this year, 91% of refugees came from just 10 countries where they're fleeing war, famine, persecution. And according to the Home Office, 98% of people who cross the Channel claim asylum when they get here, as they are entitled to do. And of those, 61% get granted asylum. And of those who don't get it straight away, 59% do get asylum granted upon appeal. Now, by my maths, that's 87% of people coming here on small boats being granted asylum. And that only happens if they have proven their case. Those 10 countries, they include Afghanistan, where we've been involved in fighting a war for 20 years, just to abandon them just this year. So expect numbers to grow. In fact, as the Times have reported, one of the 27 people reported dead on Wednesday was an Afghan soldier who had worked with British forces, but given Priti Patel's decision to only take 20,000 Afghan refugees at a rate of 4,000 a year over the next 5 years, he clearly didn't feel able to wait that long in a country led by regressive head choppers like the Taliban. Yemen is another getting bombed to hell by Saudi Arabia, who we sell weapons to. Syria, where, again, we were involved in the war. Iran, Iraq, Kuwait. Go on, tell me what's the first thing that comes into your head when you hear these countries' names? Simply put, if we don't want refugees coming to our country to seek asylum, we should probably stop bombing the crap out of theirs. If we weren't helping to create refugees, they wouldn't be arriving at our shores, would they? Now, for too long, these peoples have been trashed as migrants just coming here to steal our jobs or claim benefits. If they were after benefits, as the likes of Quentin Letts has claimed this week, they'd be better off staying in France because all they'll get here is £39.65 a week. Can you live on that? According to the windbag, supposedly Christian Letts, people are prepared to die for that. We have over 1 million job vacancies here, a serious skills shortage, an ageing population, but the prospect of more people coming here, wanting a safe fresh start, that could potentially fill some of these. No, we don't want that, cried the right wing. They gain more political capital from attacking such people because we always want someone else to blame for our own hardship. It's the bastards in power you should aim your anger at that are making your life harder, not those with nothing, risking life and limb in a rubber boat, or those prepared to risk their lives going out to rescue them. Any article, news source, or politician dismissing these people as migrants has no intention of helping them, no desire to help them, no addressing the real issues behind their stories. Now, the media might shout migrants, but let's call them what they really are. Human beings, just the same as you and me, and our government has this week let 43 of them die. Referring to them all as migrants dehumanizes them, and that is intentional. It is to insulate us from any sense of blame and to justify these deaths. These deaths are the result of political intent. It is not a tragic accident because they were avoidable. The Tories, especially under our rampantly xenophobic Home Secretary, Priti Patel, herself the daughter of refugees, but going back to her predecessors as well, has waged war on people seeking a better life here in the UK. They have blocked the ability for anyone to seek asylum unless they are physically here to claim it, yet have also closed off any and all safe routes to get here. They can't catch the ferry. They can't jump on Eurostar. They resorted to getting onto lorries, but as our government have meted out heavier and heavier punishments to hauliers and drivers who accidentally bring people in, once again absolving themselves of any sense of responsibility over the matter, they drive desperate people to ever more desperate measures. And there are always people prepared to cash in on that, the people traffickers. Now remember when you see a Tory bleat about cracking down on traffickers and that France should be doing more because it's never their fault. It's another chance for them to pass the buck to someone else, yet they could fix that issue very quickly by simply permitting people seeking asylum safe passage to claim it, that they are legally entitled to do. There is no such thing as an illegal asylum seeker. I'll say that once more for the knuckle draggers at the front and the back. There is no such thing as an illegal asylum seeker. 98% of people coming here on small boats wish to do just that. 87% of those will be entitled to do so as well. It cannot be overstated. It cannot be repeated enough. Anyone saying otherwise is either ill-informed or lying. Now, Johnson has called these deaths a tragedy. If he really gave a shit, he'd do something about it. But this is the same man who didn't give a toss if we died in our thousands from COVID-19 in order to keep the economy going. And if he thinks that little of British lives, don't for 1 second believe he gives a crap about refugees. If the Tories hadn't legalised their racism on immigration, none of this would be happening. It doesn't matter when the opposition are making the same demands either. There's no pressure on them to change, with Starmer as per usual offering no alternatives, just go tougher and go faster. And the message here from Labour front bencher Nick Thomas-Symonds reinforces that.
Yet again evidence of the desperate situation the Home Secretary has got into because of her own failure. It's the Home Secretary who promised to make this route unviable, and yet on her watch we are seeing the numbers increase to such an extent that if the rate of numbers were to increase by the same rate again next year as it has this year to last, we'll have more people risking their lives in the Channel than voters in Priti Patel's constituency.
Nick Thomas-Symonds bitching about increasing numbers, but by the end of 2019, the UK had received just 35,566 applications for asylum. Now, that might sound a lot, but back in 2002, we peaked at 84,000. So he's talking bollocks and demonstrating this issue won't change under Labour's current leadership. And actually the same inherently racist attitudes toward refugees are present there too. Now, another common excuse used is that the people fleeing war zones should be rehomed closer to those war zones and that countries in those areas should do more. Never mind us being involved ourselves, though, eh? Everyone involved should play their part, and other countries do indeed do this. In fact, as you can see, they do a damn sight more than we do, including those closer to the war zones. In fact, the one saving grace we have in this sorry tale is that the RNLI flatly refuse to buy into any of this and place an equal value on all life and won't stop boiling hard right piss by rescuing these people. They're a charity. They rely on donations, and thanks to soulless ghouls like Nigel Farage attacking them and referring to them as migrant taxis, people are now attacking them. For fishermen in Hastings, people who live on the sea know how dangerous it is, know the value of the RNLI to them personally. To shout obscenities and to try to prevent them launching is beyond gut-wrenching. Every last one of them should hang their heads in shame. The RNLI are there for us all. As a Cornishman, I'm well aware of their value as they patrol the longest stretch of UK coastline down here outside of Scotland, lifeguard our beaches in the summer and keep people safe. If you're attacking them, yet are planning a Cornish beach holiday next year, you're a bit of a bastard and an utter hypocrite. These desperate people, these refugees who have chosen to come here for whatever reason, it is not for us to judge them on that, drowned because Patel has ensured there is no safe route to the UK, despite our obligation to offer asylum under international law. If we can stop them getting here, we can stop them claiming it. And that's what drives them. Racist, ignorant, embarrassing, and cruel. We take in low numbers anyway, so this is just blatant racism to the degree they're prepared to see people die, to demand they get turned about at sea, to sentence them to death by drowning if we don't put our foot down and say no more. Patel even has the barefaced temerity to say, we have a generous approach to refugees. But no, they only ever get referred to as that if they manage to survive getting here because, and at the risk of sounding boring, I'll repeat it again, there is no safe route for them to get here. These people who have died this week are more than just a death toll, more than just a number. They were men, women, and children, and each should be named to shame this government of ours who let them die and shame a media complicit in shielding them from blame. And it's because the mainstream media do that we'll never know who they really are. These deaths are the result of political intent. It is not a tragic accident because this was so avoidable. Condemn the government on this, because if you support the attacks on people coming here displaced by war or genocide or famine, seeking a better or safer life for themselves and their families, you're just another knuckle-dragging racist, deluding yourself in your own little bubble of indifference.